Check my pulse. Don't change. Stay 72. Come shine or rain. Wave the flag. Off the bag. Rock the boat. Skin the goat. Wave that flag, wave it wide and I'm going down the line, going down the line, going down the line, going down the line. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of Quick Trivia with Mike. It's the weekly game show right here on Channel 955 where we test your knowledge of facts. Sometimes they're a little bit more historic in nature. Sometimes they're very contemporary. Hopefully they're always a lot of fun. I am your host and the Quizmaster, and I'm joined today by my very special guest host, Scott McFerrin. Hello, Scott. How are you today?
It's good to be here, Quizmaster.
Well, thank you. It's good to have you. You know why we have Scott today? Today is the very first episode of our third year on Quick Trivia.
3 years.
This is the beginning of year 3. It's our 105th episode. We've had a lot of fun over the last 2 years, haven't we?
We have. A lot of water has gone over the dam, under the bridge.
Yeah, I know. And the show has evolved over time to what it is today.
It definitely has.
And we're going to talk a little bit after intermission about the future of Quick Trivia, what Scott has in terms of ideas and what I have for ideas. You know, maybe we'll give you some insight into what the future holds. But we hope it goes for another 2 years and even longer after that, right?
Maybe some input from our new director, Stacy Abbott.
Stacy Abbott. You remember Stacy was my guest host about 3 weeks ago. She's really a dynamic individual. I know you're all going to love working with her and getting to know her better as the weeks and months go by. She's really a good addition to East Castle Place, don't you think?
Definitely, and part of the things that we're looking at is 955 and Quick Trivia. Her fingerprints are going to be on some of these new changes that we're looking at, and new programming, and you're going to be involved in some of that too. So.
Oh my gosh! Well, we'll have to talk about that.
We might have to keep a bit of that under wraps. But,
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's a need-to-know basis. You know, sometimes we could tell you things, but then we'd have to come and find you and kill you. We just don't want to have to do that. Right. So it's a need-to-know basis, but really, we are working on wonderful new things, not just for Quick Trivia, but 955, and maybe we'll have some insight. You know, though, Scott, we do have a new tradition here. We do a couple of things on Quick Trivia that aren't related to Quick Trivia. One of them is birthdays of the week. And we do have a couple of them this week. And we're going to give them out to you. On April 7th, Carla Mae Richards. Carla Mae Richards, happy birthday. Also on April 7th, they're kind of birthday twins, Diane Guinier. Diane hasn't been here near as long as Carla, but we do wish them both a very, very happy birthday. If you happen to run into either of these two birthday gals in the hallways over the next week, be sure to wish them a very, very happy birthday on behalf of yourself, but also on behalf of all of us here at Quick Trivia, right?
Right, and actually today is the birthday party for the March birthday, so all the
There you
March
go.
people are today in the club room, so.
There you go. Now, I should tell you, for those of you that are watching it on Friday, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, or Sunday, Scott and I are actually taping this program on Thursday. So when we say that the birthdays for March is today, that's actually Thursday, the 31st, in the club room.
Good
right?
point.
Yeah, it's always a fun event. I hope you made it down there to wish a happy birthday to all of those birthday kids. They all deserve it. The second thing we have here is an update on information here at East Castle Place. I know Scott has a couple of things he wants to talk about, but I have one as well. It involves Scott's department, but it specifically involves Willie. The Spring Wellness Challenge. It's running from March 1st until April 17th, so it's a 6-week, maybe almost 7-week challenge. It's located in Lindsay Hall or the Creativity Center. There are things going on in multiple locations, and I'm sure Willie can fill you in. The goal is for you and all of your neighbors to each attend 12 wellness events during that time frame. What's a wellness event? Well, it could be exercise, it could be going to meditation or a church service, it could be a support group led by Pastor Harold. You participate and you document that by going to one of these things, and you fill out an activity sheet every time you go. What do you get for participating? Well, there's going to be a raffle at the end for everybody who can turn in a sheet documenting 12 events. The raffle will be for a $50 gift card for either Whole Foods or Sendix. Not a bad reward for actually making yourself a healthier person, either in body, mind, or soul, right?
Right.
Not a bad gig.
Win-win.
Yes.
Does going to the symphony count as a wellness activity?
Well, let's take a look, because I have an example of things that count.
I think it should if it doesn't. So.
Well, we'll see. Under the spiritual and mental wellness, we've got meditation, the spousal support group, the grief support group, Bible study, Ash Wednesday ecumenical services, which I got to fill one out for that. The ecumenical worship services. We also have Catholic Mass on Saturdays. The gratitude group or planning your funeral book discussion. Under physical wellness, we've got aqua aerobics, falls prevention, senior strength, Tai Chi, stretch and tone, yoga, fall prevention exercises, and the fitness center open house. And I hesitate to add, or I don't hesitate to add, fall prevention is not getting people ready for the third season of the year. It's to help people prevent falls. And if by chance you do fall, for the next couple of weeks, invariably, you're stiff, a little bit sore, ways to deal with that, I think, also is part of the fall prevention, exercise and wellness. So those are the types of activities. And what was the addition you were thinking of? The symphony.
The symphony.
I think that'd be great. Or the paint and sip last Friday.
Right.
I think those are wonderful examples. And by the way, for those of you who went to the paint and sip, we have a collection of the paintings on the second floor balcony area of the Contemporary. Wonderful paintings by some of the artists that were there on Friday night. We have Mickey Pollard's is up there. My own painting is up there. Heidi Cole's is up there. Pete and Sandra Meyer have theirs up there. A wonderful collection. Stop in and see what we did. I know we're going to try to do it again. Maybe this will inspire you to join us next time.
This is really turning into the art display area of East Castle.
And I think it's wonderful. We should have an area designated not just for art, but for art that is generated by our staff and residents.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Something to show off our in-house efforts.
We're working on that, and I think Tyler's working on that too, so hopefully that's going to become a thing.
Well, and I know Ellie Spalding has spoken to me a couple times about it as well. Ellie, our student artist in residence. For those of you that have not met her yet, I encourage you to participate in one of her activities. She's only with us through June. She is a real treasure.
She's
And
great. She really is.
She really is. And I think if you've not met her yet, you owe it to yourself to do so. You will not regret it. I
We need to
can
get some of
assure
the guys out to some of those events too. It seems like it's more women to come out. The guys would enjoy it too.
you. All you have to do is come and see the paintings from our paint and sip. We had lots of gentlemen there that night. Tyler was there. I was there. One of our board members, Ken Kernan, was there. Pete Meyer was there. Peter Meyer. So lots of men were there that night. Lila's had a guest that was there. You know, lots of gentlemen showed up. So
Come on out, guys.
come on out. It's a lot of fun, and I'll tell you, for those of you that thought it was a paint and sip, it really was a paint and sip. You know, you have to get the emphasis on the right word.
Well, the sipping helps with the painting a little bit.
It does. Every painting looks better after 3 or 4 sips.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure everybody had a wonderful time, and you should join us next time.
Some of our best artists in history of art have been sippers, I think.
That's what I understand. That's what I understand. Scott, I know we've been telling a lot about East Castle, but most times when I have a guest host on, I talk a little bit about the host. Tell me, what really is your job description, your title? What is your job title?
My job title is Work Sub Coordinator. So when I first came, the job was to manage workflow with computer software that we use throughout the facility, and it's to manage workflow, hospitality, IT, maintenance, transportation. So it's kind of evolved over time. I oversee the transportation department. We help out with the activities. We work on the Channel 955. I have a background in audio and visual work. It's just been a thing I've done for a number of years. So COVID came. I mean, we all kind of dug into our bag of tricks and brought out, and everybody did that, and really some things kind of came out of that. So it wasn't all bad what happened with COVID. So
It opened our eyes to new opportunities to engage our residents
Right.
in various things.
right, and so I mean, a lot of our jobs and duties have evolved. So yeah, so now it's just kind of a mixed bag of things that doesn't necessarily pertain to the original title, but that's part of it. So
A lot of you don't really understand this. I've talked about the fact that Scott is behind the camera on Quick Trivia. He's many times is my cameraman. He's always my editor. He's always the one who uploads it to Channel 955, and he does that for virtually everything on Channel 955. A real talent, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it.
it is fun. It is, and it's just it's an extra thing that makes the job even that much more enjoyable. So
It's the quintessential nonprofit job description. Other duties as assigned, right?
right, that should be the new title, I think. So.
Other duties as assigned, that's
Jack
right.
of all trades, master of none.
I don't know about master of none, but a jack of all trades that he has attempted at least.
Right.
Let me ask you a personal question.
But it's not all me, it's a team effort here. And that's you, and it has been Cooper in the past, James, Stacy, so it's Tyler. It's really a team effort, so.
I agree, and it's a good team. We have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Scott, tell me now, your wife actually works at East Castle Place as well. She's a nurse over in Watertown,
does.
right?
Her name
Deborah?
is Deb.
Deborah.
Deborah.
We actually have several couples that work here. Another one that I know of is Robert in the kitchen and Beverly in housekeeping.
Right.
Are there many more couples or family combinations that work here? Lila and her son.
Lila and her son.
Kendall. Anybody else that we can think of?
Ian and his father.
Ian and his father, Mark.
Right.
That's correct.
Seemed like there was someone else. It'll come to me when you don't put me on the spot.
Okay.
That might be all, but I'm not certain. I thought there was someone else, but
I'll tell you though, your wife really is involved in a lot of things. I know her primary location is Water Tower, but given the setup of East Castle Place, assisted living is in Water Tower, memory care, skilled nursing, and rehab are in Bradford Terrace. Nurses float back and forth regularly. So many of you have probably met Deborah already because she is a floater. as needs arise.
And she's on second shift, so if she is the nurse on call on second shift. If anyone in the building needs a nurse, she gets the call, so, yeah.
Must be kind of interesting. You get to see East Castle from many different aspects because of your extended family involvement in everything we do.
Yeah,
So you see the beauty of East Castle everywhere.
Well, that's how she was here first, and then I had a little interaction with people here, and then that's kind of how I ended up here, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at last week's questions, shall we?
Absolutely.
I talked extensively last week about FLOTUS. You know what FLOTUS is, right?
FLOTUS. No.
I think we stumped it. First Lady of
First
the
lady,
United
okay.
States.
POTUS.
POTUS is President of the United States. SCOTUS is Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
FLOTUS is the First Lady. We talked about several things that various First Ladies have done over time. George Washington, of course, was married. There was no White House at that time. But specifically, the First Lady's job, primarily, is to be the hostess of events that take place at the Executive Mansion. During George Washington's era, that was his own house, starting with John Adams, the White House. Although Abigail Adams never lived at the White House. It was finished, completed, so late in his term that his wife never relocated from Massachusetts. And he only served one term. John Adams actually created the pattern for a peaceful transition of power in a democracy and a republic. He was the first president to lose an election and gracefully give up his seat of power, and Thomas Jefferson came in. However, many First Ladies were not actually married to POTUS. Remember, the title indicates the person who acts as the hostess for the Executive Mansion. So some of our presidents were bachelors, some of our presidents were widowers, and as a result of that, there always has been a FLOTUS, but it hasn't always been the president's wife.
Okay.
I pointed out, however, that there are two FLOTUSes, if you will,
Floti,
which would be the correct Latin plural, but that's masculine. It would be flota and flote.
You got me there.
But at any rate, Nancy Reagan, president of Ronald Reagan, and Edith Wilson, wife of Woodrow Wilson, so Nancy, wife of Ronald, and Edith, husband of Woodrow, are both descendants of one couple. And I asked you, our viewers, who was this couple? And I recognize that one of the two people as the couple are not very well known, but the other is very well known. I asked you, who is this common ancestor of Nancy Reagan and Edith Wilson? Nancy and Edith, coincidentally, both became First Ladies of the United States. Who is this ancestor of theirs?
Wow. So that would have to be someone much previous to them.
Very good. Very good.
And Woodrow Wilson would have been
I'll give you the
post World War I.
World War I, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you the hint. I'll tell you the husband's name. I'm sure you'll get it from that. Captain John Rolfe. Now it's evident to you,
No,
right?
it's not though.
Captain John Rolfe, by the way, married this particular person in 1614.
1614.
1614, so you were right. This was an ancestor much before both of them.
So 1614 had to be someone in England, I'm guessing.
Actually, no.
Okay.
Right here in the United States.
In the 1600s. Okay. Well, then you're going back to the Pilgrim era then.
I guess
Nope.
Pocahontas.
Okay. Well, I was kind of going in that
Pocahontas and John Rolfe, their descendants ultimately resulted in Nancy Reagan and Edith Wilson. That, my friends, was the answer to question number one.
It wasn't Pocahontas with John Smith.
Well, actually, She married John Rolfe. Here it is. She is famous for the story told by Captain John Smith of how she risked her life to save his after his capture.
Swimming across the river to save him, and there's a song about it.
Ultimately, she was falsely told that Smith had died. And that's when she married John Rolfe, Captain John Rolfe. So she thought that Captain John Smith was dead. She married John Rolfe, had numerous offspring. Two of them ultimately had children that became Edith Wilson and Nancy Reagan.
So they were the beneficiaries of that.
They were the beneficiaries of that.
Okay.
There you have it. Question number 1. Question number 2. We talked a little bit about fast food trivia. Specifically, we talked about Wendy's. And we talked about the fact that Dave Thomas is the founder of Wendy's. He actually opened his first Wendy's on November 15th, 1969.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, there you go. Well, that was actually, the beef was in Columbus, Ohio. That's where his first franchise was open. I pointed out now, however, that, I mean, it's a worldwide franchise. There are a Wendy's located in at least 25 countries around the world. Ironically, Dave Thomas was not a high school graduate.
I believe I did know that.
Dave Thomas, however, went back to earn his GED at the age of 60. He was awarded his GED on March 25th, 1993. In honor of the fact that he earned his general educational development diploma, a Florida high school actually awarded him an honorary diploma in honor of his GED. They gave him a high school graduation certificate in addition to the GED that he earned. In addition to that, the high school, among their graduating seniors, there's always a vote. Who's the most likely to do this, the most likely to do that? Dave Thomas actually won one of those elections. Dave Thomas was voted the most likely to what from that Florida high school?
So we're talking about, it was not his own high school, this is after the fact.
This was the one that awarded him an honorary high school diploma after he earned his general educational development diploma, his GED.
So they voted him most likely to...
As a 60-year-old when he earned his GED.
Yeah. I have no idea. Most likely to earn, because where I thought you were going with this was that he next was given an honorary doctorate from somewhere after not going to high school, but I have no idea.
He was voted most likely to succeed. I think it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was a fait accompli by the time it happened.
Yeah, they must not have had a lot of options to choose from.
That was the answer to question number 2. Question number 3, we took a look at the Today Show. The Today Show, that wonderful NBC program that has been airing for, oh Jesus, like 50, 60 years now.
At least.
Last week we talked about Willard Scott, the longtime weatherman, and how he actually created the character Ronald McDonald. And he actually was Ronald McDonald for 3 years, 1963 to 1966. We talked about the fact that in the early days of the Today Show, specifically from 1953 to 1957, the ratings were so poor that NBC was looking for anything that could turn it around and make it a hit. They introduced a new persona on the Today Show that became an instant hit. It was Fred J. Muggs. Fred J. Muggs read the day's newspaper. He played the piano with Steve Allen. He was so popular, they wanted him to look contemporary and upbeat. His wardrobe consisted of over 450 outfits. that they would routinely change to keep him looking fresh.
Mhm.
There was something extremely unique about J. Fred Muggs, and I ask you, our viewers, what was that? What was it about J. Fred Muggs that made him so unique?
That's before my time, and I go back to the Today Show of the early 70s, so yeah. I thought you were going to talk about Brian Gumbel.
No,
I'm just thinking about all the people who have come through the Today Show.
Absolutely.
A lot of
It's a
people.
who's who
Lot
of contemporary
yeah. They
television.
went on to do a lot of different things.
That's correct.
The only thing I'm coming up with is a bow tie.
J. Fred Muggs was a chimpanzee.
He wear a bow tie, though.
He did. J. Fred Muggs was such an instant hit. NBC credits him with generating over $100 million in advertising and merchandising. He would sit on Dave Garroway's lap, and they would read the newspaper. He would actually play the piano with Steve Allen. Ironically, after his 4 years on the Today Show, he retired at the age of 23, and he's still alive today. Lives with his girlfriend in Florida, obviously on a game preserve.
Maybe we could get him to help us out here at East Castle. Can he drive a bus? We could have him fill in,
Maybe.
or at least do a little bit of guidance.
That's right. There you have it, everybody. Those are the 3 answers to our questions from last week. We're going to take a brief intermission. I highly encourage you to go off and get a little bit of brain food. Get yourself a donut, maybe a cup of coffee. My special guest, Scott, and I are going to be back after a brief intermission, and we have 3 new questions for you in the second half. So hurry back. We'll be waiting right here for you.
Peace.
Okay.
Well, shack. Son of a gun, better change your act. We're all confused. What's to lose? You can call this song the United States Blues. Wave that flag, wave it wide and high. Summertime, come and come, my oh my. Summertime, come and come, my oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Summertime, come and come, my oh my.
Welcome back to the second half, everybody. My special guest, Scott McFerrin, and I have already given you the 3 answers to last week's questions, and we have 3 brand new brain teasers for you that we're going to share in the second half of the show. But let's talk a little bit more with Scott before we get to that. Scott, you've talked a little bit about what you do here at East Castle Place, but you went through a very trying time at the end of 2021 where you were short drivers. I mean, you were filling in everywhere. I even had to go pick up one of our residents one time. How in the world do you manage when your responsibilities impact virtually everybody here at East Castle Place in some way, shape, or form? How do you hold it all together in trying times like that?
Well, a lot of help from my friends here at East Castle. I mean, actually, you are an official driver now.
I could drive anytime, anywhere, for anyone.
That's right, and so yeah, I mean, it is. We have a good team, and everyone pitches in, and it really is a collaborative thing. And that's one of the things that I like about East Castle is everyone is they get it done type of a person. So, and it really comes through. What I was going to say earlier was when my wife preceded me here, the thing that drew me to the opening, it wasn't just the opening itself, it was the attitude of the people here because of I'm good at sensing and judging people and their character and the way they are, and everyone it was a family-like atmosphere. And it wasn't fake because you can tell when that type of thing is a show and it's
No, I agree.
Right,
I agree.
and it was everybody that I had come in contact with was genuinely interested in being a good person, and so that's what kind of drew me to this. So, and that's just kind of, we take that in our job, and when things become trying, then we manage and we get through.
You know, and I think the wonderful thing here at East Castle is that it starts at the top. You know, Tyler is a very inclusive type of person. His door is always open. You can go talk to him about anything. I think it also happens with Tracy. You know, Stacy. Stacy, I think she's a wonderful person. That tradition is going to carry on with her as well. I also think it carries on with our residents. You look at our resident council, and they're a very inclusive group as well. You know, if you have ideas, you can go talk to any one of your resident council members. They're very receptive to bringing people into the inner circle, if you will, and involving people.
It is. It's the whole hierarchy. It starts with Tyler and Lindsay, and it works its way through the director team and through the staff, and also on the resident side as well. So it really is a unique situation. It really is.
It is.
So.
I really like the fact, too, that, you know, we're here because of the residents who live here. And we try to provide as many opportunities for residents to explore their own potential, to engage in their own activities that they like. And it could be recreational, It can be volunteerism. You could work at the treasure chest. You could volunteer with the resident council. You could be assisting with gardening. You could be down.
Earth Day is coming up.
Earth Day is
That's a big
coming
thing
up.
happening right now, so yeah.
And in fact, we've talked to our green committee. Marion Fraley has reached out to Quick Trivia. We're going to be highlighting a conservation question every week during the month of April because of Earth Day and Earth Week.
And Earth Month. That's coming up on us fast here. So
It is. It's
stay tuned because there's a lot of good things that are in the offing. So
It's coming up about as fast as Easter.
Yeah,
Easter's
that's
coming
right.
up right around the corner as well.
It
Time
is.
really flies, you know. I think the really nice thing too is things didn't fully collapse from a social perspective because of COVID. But now as we're coming out of COVID, we're even opening up and doing more, right?
Right, and we've taken the things that we've learned, and I mean, even as a society, we've all changed and evolved, and that's just been, boiled down into what we do here too. So
Yeah. Tell me about one of your hobbies. I know your favorite band is the Grateful Dead.
Right.
Scott is one of those types of people that you would call a deadhead. He's traveled around to the concerts and everything. What is that like when you do things like that?
It's super interesting. I mean, and that's where part of my background in audiovisual comes. We would actually go around and record the band when they played live because the Grateful Dead allowed that to happen. They were they started it, but several have taken their example and allowed this to happen over time. But virtually all of their concerts were recorded by their fans. They also recorded themselves, but all these tapes were in existence. And it was a whole subculture of people, and it really grew out of the 60s, the hippie movement, San Francisco, and it just became a thing. And people following them around, it was a way of life, it was a free way of life. And it's funny to see how that has evolved over the years, because it started in 1965, and here we are in 2022. So we're now into the third generation of people, and possibly beyond. We see people in their 70s when we go to these concerts. We see babies when we go to these concerts. So it really is good to be back, and we've seen a few shows now since COVID has lifted. We went out to Hollywood last Halloween and saw a couple shows at the Hollywood Bowl. We're going to see some more this summer as soon as the dates come out. But it really is a counterculture of its own. So they say there's nothing like a Grateful Dead show. That's
What I understand.
There's
Although, I must tell you, I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan, but I would say there's nothing like a Bruce Springsteen show.
I have never seen Bruce. I've seen a lot of shows, but I've never seen Bruce Springsteen.
It's not just a show, it's an experience.
Yeah.
You really have to get into it.
He just has that charisma and that showmanship.
He does. Tell me though, Grateful Dead and the Deadhead experience, that's continued in spite of the fact that the front man for Grateful Dead passed away several years ago, right?
That's right. And if you would take Jerry's philosophy, he was very humble as a
Jerry
person.
Garcia.
Jerry Garcia.
Right.
Was very humble as a person, and he was kind of the father figure for the band, and but yet he didn't want to be the focus. That was always his thing. The focus was on the family and the collective family of all the band members and all the people that supported the band. They were very supportive of the whole group. And he wanted the focus to be on the experience and on the fan base themselves. So when he passed away, it was a period of time there. It was a dark period, and then it started coming back, and the band still wanted to play. The fans wanted to hear the music, and we've lost people along the way. There's actually, what they're talking about now is that the remaining members are in their 70s. So,
As all of those bands from the 60s and 70s.
right, and we're starting to lose them, and it's unfortunate, but it's just a matter of time. So what these people in the Dead are doing they're going to pass the torch to the younger people who are in the band Dead and Company now. John Mayer is one of them. Oteil Burbridge is another.
Sure.
Jeff Clementi is the keyboard player. So they're going to pass the mantle and hand the song catalog to them and let them carry on the music going forward. So
What a great testament.
there's a story that Bob Weir has, and he was one of the two lead singers, and he's still with the band. And he said that he had a dream where this was 30 or 40 years into the future from now, and he was kind of floating above the stage, and he saw someone, the band was playing, he saw someone else in his position, and he was pleased about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, fascinating.
It's cool.
It's fun to learn about people's hobbies, isn't it? You know, we have 3 new questions for this coming week. Should we take a look at them?
Let's get after it.
The Green Committee here at East Castle Place has really promoted conservation, recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle. We've also always had programs in the month of April. Last year, Scott and I actually did one on the sewer systems here in the greater Milwaukee area. So we're going to begin with a little look at Earth Day. Earth Day is an annual event typically held on April 22nd to support environmental protection. The first one was held on April 22nd, 1970. It now involves a wide range of events coordinated globally by earthday.org, formerly known as Earth Day Network. It really started taking off because of our own senator right here in Wisconsin, Senator Gaylord Nelson, in the early 70s. You know, it really needed somebody with some, you know, really prestige behind them to get behind it. And it did. It now really is somewhat of a worldwide phenomenon, specifically because of the Paris Agreement. It's really taken off since 2016 around the world. United Kingdom, China, and 120 other countries now do things to commemorate the environmental movement throughout the globe. Of course, once again, here in the United States, Senator Nelson is really well known for it. I have a couple of things here, and I'm going to ask Scott not to give the answer now because these are the challenges for the coming week. Well, actually, this one has several answers. So we're going to see if Scott can get 1 or 2 of them, and I'll have another one that we'll challenge you with. How long do you think it takes a sheet of paper to decompose?
Oh my. In a dry atmosphere, a wet atmosphere?
Yeah, in a landfill or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to guess a year.
No, it only really takes 4 weeks.
Really?
It's a very recyclable commodity. Newspapers, 6 weeks. It takes a newspaper 6 weeks to rot. A cardboard box. How long do you think it takes for a cardboard box to decompose in a landfill?
I would guess faster because of the holes in the air that's inside.
Takes longer.
Really?
3 months. 3 months it takes for a cardboard box to decompose. My question to you, one of the things that our society is noted for today is the use of plastic. Everything that we buy now comes in plastic in some way, shape, or form. And of course, science has figured out a way to recycle a lot of plastic. A lot of that is for good cause. My question to you, our viewers, how long does it take a plastic bottle to decompose? How long does it take a plastic bottle to decompose? And it's such a long period of time, I'll tell you. Guess it within 25 years, and I'll count that as a correct answer. How long does it take a plastic bottle to decompose? That, my friends, is question number 1. Question number 2. We're talking a little bit about energy, environment, things like that. We're going to take a little bit of a look at nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. There is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful movie that came out called The China Syndrome. It focused on a disaster at a nuclear power plant. Came out in 1979. It was directed by James Bridges and written by Bridges, Mike Gray, and T.S. Cook. The 3 really big stars that put it on the map were Jane Fonda, Jack Lemmon, and Michael Douglas. Jane Fonda was a television news reporter. Mike Douglas was her cameraman. And Jack Lemmon, of course, was an engineer at a nuclear power plant that ended up having an accident. It's called the China syndrome because the theory is that the nuclear fuel gets heated to such an extent in the fusion process, which generates the electricity, that if it were ever to break out of its containment environment, there would be nothing to stop it from burning its way right through the entire core of the Earth and ending up in China. I don't know if that's actually true. We certainly don't want to test it.
No.
Certainly don't want to test it. The movie itself grossed $51.7 million on a production budget of $5.9 million. It received 4 nominations at the 52nd Academy Awards. Best Actor for Jack Lemmon, Best Actress for Fonda, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Production Design. It didn't win any Academy Awards, but it was a very entertaining movie, very fast-paced.
What year was that?
The movie came out in 1979.
79, okay.
And it actually was a precursor to the disaster film era.
Yeah.
You know, there was the Sky Rises, there was the planes.
Towering Inferno and
Yeah, exactly.
the Poseidon Adventure, yeah.
Exactly. So it was one of the first movies in that genre. The nuclear science industry at that time wrote it off as a fluke, saying that things were so well managed that nothing like the China syndrome could ever take place in real life. 12 days later, people changed their mind. My question to you, what happened 12 days after the premiere of the China syndrome that opened people's eyes? What happened 12 days after the premiere of the China syndrome? That's question number 2.
I have an idea on that one, so
Well, we'll
once
talk-
we turn it off,
We'll talk after camera. We're going to talk a little bit about an upcoming huge sporting event, the Kentucky Derby. It's a horse race held annually. Depending on the year, it's the end of April, it's the beginning of May. It's really coming up fast. It's commonly called the Run for the Roses, stemming from the fact that the winner receives a blanket of roses, the winning horse, in the winner's circle. Then afterwards, while they award the trophies and things like that, the winning horse gets a bed of roses over them.
And Jerry Garcia had a solo album called Run for the Roses.
Well, there you go.
There you have it.
See how we tied this all together? And we didn't even plan this.
No.
It just all comes together. Attendance at the Kentucky Derby ranks first in North American sporting events. And it also surpasses the attendance numbers of all other stakes races, including the Preakness, the Belmont, and the Breeders' Cup. So it's just a huge attendance. I believe the most they've ever had in attendance is 157,000.
Wow.
For a week ahead of time, the airport in Louisville is swarmed by small, not commercial airlines, but small, privately owned passenger jets. All these very wealthy people flying in, for 3 or 4 days. And there are some wonderful traditions that go with the Kentucky Derby. There is the mint julep, which is really well known. The Kentucky Derby really is the beginning of the Triple Crown. You've got the Preakness, you've got the Belmont, you've got the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby is the first. It's very rare for one horse to win all 3. And do you know why that is?
It's just a hard thing to accomplish in sports, and it's because of the variance of the track conditions, the lengths of the tracks.
Exactly. The Kentucky Derby not only is the first, but it's the shortest. And for a horse to be able to win the Kentucky Derby, they have to be a sprinter. They have to be able to run at top speed for a long period of time. The Preakness and the Belmont, as they go on, the races get longer. And by the time you get to the third race, which is the longest, you're dealing with a horse that has to be able to have endurance.
Run a marathon, a sprinter
Exactly.
and a marathon all in one horse.
It's very, very rare to find a horse that has all of those combinations. However, winning the Kentucky Derby can make the career, not only of the owner, but the trainer and the jockey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jockeys themselves are athletes in their own right. Not just anybody can get on a thoroughbred horse like a Kentucky Derby bred horse and actually do a good job. Frankly, it's a death-defying feat.
It is.
Actually. My question to our readers: who is the youngest jockey? Now let's change that. I'll tell you. Alonzo Lonnie Clayton is the youngest jockey to ever win the Kentucky Derby. How old was he when he won the Kentucky Derby? Alonzo Lonnie Clayton, how old was he when he won the Kentucky Derby? And there you have it, folks. Those are our 3 questions for this week. We've got a little bit of sports, we've got a little bit of science, and we've got a little bit of environmental trivia. Hopefully you'll have a lot of fun with all 3 of those, trying to come up with the answers. As always, I want to thank you for taking this last, oh my goodness, we're over about 40 minutes now, actually.
Well, we can cut it down, so.
I want to thank you for taking the time to spend it with Scott and I. I had a wonderful time. I hope you did as well. I know, you watch us on Channel 955. That means you have your cable TV on. You've got hundreds of options of television stations to watch. I'm really pleased you took the time to watch this one with Scott and I. I'd also like to thank the president of ECTV, Tyler Gudex, our executive producer, Stacy Abbott. I'd really like to thank my editor, and today my guest host, Scott McFerrin.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity.
I tell you this every week, and I mean it as sincerely as I possibly can. If there's anything you like about Quick Trivia with Mike, Scott's fingerprints are all over it. I hope you take the time to let him know that you enjoy the show. You do a wonderful job, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. And I am your host and the Quizmaster, Mike Brever. I really want to thank you as well. We're going to see you again next week, same time, same place. It will be the 2nd show of our 3rd year. We've had a lot of fun doing this for the last 2 years. I had a lot of fun doing it today. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thank you.
I always want to remind you as we sign off of those very, very famous words of Betty White, and we hope that they are some words of wisdom that guide you through the upcoming tumultuous week. We highly recommend that you get 8 hours of beauty sleep every night. Unless, of course, you're ugly, in which case we recommend you get 9. So long, everybody.
to go.